Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the Remembrancers Library podcast. I'm Vincent.
And I'm Ethan.
And today we are on our very last episode talking about the Primarchs.
Yay!
Hooray!
Finally. Dude, when I suggested this to you, and we were like, oh yeah, this will be such a good idea. I think we got to about Gilliman. Yeah. And I was like, this was such a bad idea.
To start off with all of them right out of the gate. I mean, like, it is important groundwork for the whole thing, but...
Well, that's the whole point, is like, for you guys at home, was like, every other Warhammer, like, lorecast or podcast or stuff like that, they immediately go in with, like, here's the beginning of the galaxy, here's the Horus Heresy. Yeah. And it's like, oh, cool.
Who are all of these people?
Who is Horsehair Lubricant? Who is... Who is Robot Girly Man? Who is Peter Turbo and stuff like that? And you're genuinely like listening to it, and you're just like, might as well be Peter Turbo. Might as well be Robot Doors, because you have no idea who any of these people are.
Exactly.
So that's why we did what we did, and just to give you guys a peek behind the curtain of why we did it is because we wanted you guys to be able to be like, I know who all these guys are before we go into what the hell of the Horus Heresy is.
Exactly.
There's a lot of stuff with the Horus Heresy too.
And like, to be fair, we don't expect you to know in great detail and depth and photographic memory, or I guess this is audio, not photo, but you know what I mean. It's like...
Audiographic memory.
Yeah, that one. I'll be doing research and then go to like say something about one of the Primarchs and then start talking about it or whatever, and I will have no idea.
Yeah.
Even if I'm the one who did the research for that episode, like there's so much. Yeah, there's so much to know.
And it's like there's so many little details about everything too that we're not going to be able to catch everything.
Exactly.
But we want you guys to have the grand overview of everything.
Exactly.
Like, my favorite fact about Sanguinius is one that I brought up in passing, and I didn't even include it as a real thing, of that he dyes his hair black apparently when he's in mourning.
He actually just dyes it.
Like,
when he's in mourning.
When he's in mourning.
I see.
Yeah, no, because he has the like the lush golden hair and stuff like that. And
right.
It's a one-off line from the first Horus Heresy book where they mistakenly explain that he has dark hair instead of having golden blonde hair.
Oh, okay. So they've just covered it up by saying that he dyes it.
Well, it's one of those like fanon things where it's he dyes his hair when he's in mourning and stuff like that, which is a very it is a kind of cool detail to have and stuff like that. But that's not a detail that's going to be included in a lore video.
Exactly. No, that's fair. And I feel like I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
But if you asked me, I would have no idea.
Well, it's like there's 100 different books and everything out there as well. Of like, there's the Horus Heresy collection on Audible right now, and like we were talking about Corvus. We were talking about Corvus last episode. There is an entire short story in that book that is just about Corvus Corax walking around the battlefields on Istvan 5.
Wow.
And his thought process going through like what he's dealing with as he's seeing like, his brother legions like betraying them, and like how he feels about that. And that's just an entire book about him walking around the battlefield.
That's insane.
Yeah. And the same thing, you have like, Lorgar knew before the heresy that Angron was going to be promised to Khorne.
Right.
And it's like, that's in one book. That's in one book that is a very small short story.
Exactly.
I think if like to do page numbers and stuff like that, it's barely like 100 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like,
that's nuts.
Yeah, there's 100 little details that we don't expect you guys to remember.
Exactly.
But we're trying to do that as much as we can before we get into the craziness that is the Horus Heresy. Yeah. And before we get into the rest of Warhammer at large.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And something that you kind of said there, the fact that there's so many little details in books that aren't specifically related to what the book is about, that segues really well into who we're talking about today.
Oh boy.
Which is, in fact, Alphraius and Omegon.
Yes.
This is both a 2-for-1 and also not a 2-for-1 episode.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1 and a 2-for-1.
Yes. But it also isn't that, but it is at the same time.
It isn't, but it is, yeah.
Yes. This is Schrodinger's episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking before we started recording that most of the information about Alpharus and Omegon is in books that aren't about him.
Exactly. The only trustworthy information that you can get about the Alpha Legion and Alpharius is from other books. It's like from books that aren't about him specifically. Like his own book. What was the quote that you said that his book opens up with?
This is my record, and all the records are lies.
what the hell, man? Like,
yeah. That is the first point note that I have in my notes for today. And I guess we'll start off with the housekeeping, and also that this is going to be a bit of a shorter episode.
Yeah, due to the fact that there is not a lot of trustworthy information on Alpharius and Omegon,
which is a plot point.
Yes,
but also incredibly frustrating.
Like, do you know the outside reason for that and everything?
Not really.
The outside reason for that a lot of people believe is because Games Workshop has a lot of concrete information about all these Primarchs and stuff like that.
Yep.
They wanted to keep one open to interpretation and have one that was kind of that no one really knew anything about,
so that you could kind of fill in the blanks yourself.
That way too. But if there was also anything that they didn't like, they could just brush it off as, oh, that's a lie.
True.
That wasn't true about the Legion and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
so kind of like J.R.R. Tolkien saying that, well, Bilbo's a liar.
Yes. And it's like also the thing of like, oh, the eagles and everything like that. It's like, oh, they get, well, they just couldn't fly into Mordor and stuff like that. It's like, but why? It's like, oh, it was one long convoluted reason and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's like that's what the rest of the legions are.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the dragons can't fly into Mordor. Crap. Now we have to explain the reasons why the eagles can't fly into Mordor.
Exactly.
But then like if we're going to be realistic about it, Alpharius is more like Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, where they just kind of don't say anything.
Exactly, where he's very all powerful and he knows a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
but no one knows a damn thing about what he is.
Exactly. Okay, yeah, that does kind of exactly. But yeah, so there's not a whole lot, and it's going to go back and forth, and I have gone over the notes so many times, I'm going to mix up what I'm saying.
And you haven't read his Horus Heresy book, but I have. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that comes at the end of the book where it's just like, oh yeah, no. Like,
yeah. And because he's the last... Well, the first and the last of the Primarchs to be found. There's really not a lot of time between him being found and the heresy starting.
Or there's a lot of time between him being found.
Or there's a whole lot of time. So,
there's anywhere between a century and 2 decades of time.
Exactly. Yeah. So that kind of that's how this whole episode is gonna go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Did you have anything that you wanted to say before I get into it?
No, I just wanted to let everybody know that this is going to be it's probably going to end up being a very short episode, probably somewhere between 25 minutes and 40, which will put us as our shortest episode yet.
Yeah, but we appreciate you sticking around for it.
What you do, oh God, we do. But, as the usual stuff goes, if you're on the YouTube, thank you so much for watching. If you stick around for the entire episode, thank you. If you don't, what are you doing?
Get back here.
Get back here. Don't go. No, please don't leave. And if you're on the Spotify, thank you. I know it's really hard to spread influence on Spotify and stuff like that, so the fact that you are here really does mean a lot to us and everything like that. And if you are listening on the Instagram,
thank you anyway.
Thank you anyway for coming over from Instagram.
Exactly.
But alongside that and everything like that, we just want to say thank you again for listening. Thank you again for subscribing, for watching. Even if you just put us on for like 5 minutes just to get the gist of everything and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We really do thank you. As much as I'm like, please watch the entire thing, we are very thankful. Even if you just watch for like 5 minutes. It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, the entire thing. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for listening.
Exactly.
Yeah, but with that, let's get into Alpharius, the most complicated of all the Primarchs.
The most complicated, convoluted of anyone. So like I said, the quote from earlier, this is my record and all the records are lies. In the research that I was doing, apparently there are some things that are allegedly the 100% canon truth, but
I can give you...
It could be, it couldn't be. I can give
you the 2 facts that are the... 3 facts that are the 100% canon truth about the Alpha Legion right now.
Let's hear it.
There are 2 Primarchs.
Yep.
There is Alpharius and there is Omegon.
Yep.
We don't know which one is which.
Nope.
But there are 2.
There are 2.
The other concrete fact is the Alpha Legion all look like Alpharius and Omegon.
Yes.
That's the second concrete fact. And the third concrete fact is the only people that know what the Alpha Legion do are the Alpha Legion.
Yes.
And that is a very big plot point. And
sometimes they don't even know what's going on.
Exactly. And those are the only 3 plot points that are 100% canon to the Alpha Legion. Everything else is up to interpretation.
Exactly. Yeah. So with that, usually we start out by talking about the Primarch's homeworld and their early life. life.
But
we don't really have any of that.
No.
So, yeah, the formatting is going to be a little bit different this time around. The Alpha Legion themselves, their whole battle tactic, battle strategy is about lies, misinformation, red herrings. They're all about confusion and all of that sort of stuff.
Making it as complicated as possible for the enemy to understand what the attack plan is going to be.
Exactly. Like, you shouldn't know that you're being attacked until the battle is won.
Yes, exactly.
In the way of that everything's just been secret, not that you've been like yes, it's a tactical strategy and it's stealthy and whatever, but it's not in the same way as Corvus sneaks out of the shadows and wins the battle. These guys, it's a whole other playing field.
Yeah.
Basically, I'll start by going through the kind of couple of different alleged recorded histories of Alpharius and then kind of after the different options for him being found, there's kind of sort of one storyline afterwards.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about Omegon right off the rip? Because Omegon's a lot easier than Alpharius. Because Alpharius is the complicated one, because Omegon is the really easy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so, yeah. So
from what I remember of Omegon and his everything and all that sort of stuff, and you're more versed on the Alpha Legion and stuff like that because you looked into them more than I did, because I had no want to.
That's so fair.
From what I remember about Alpharius, from Omegon specifically, is that he just kind of turned up one day.
Yeah.
Like, he had been kicking around the galaxy for a while. He had been just, knocking around, existing and everything like that.
Yeah.
And eventually Alpharius came across him.
Yeah.
And he looked at him and he knew in his soul, because that's the other thing about Alpharius and Omegon. They are one of two souls. No, they are two of one soul.
Yes.
They are one soul that's split. And that's what happened in the warp, is they got split.
Yes.
Is that one day Alpharius came across this person and was like, I feel something.
Yeah. You are the other half of my soul.
Exactly. It was, you are me. is essentially what it was. And then from that day,
they've been each other.
They have been each other. They have been inseparable.
Yes.
Until the Horus Heresy. But yes.
Yeah.
When one of them gets very separated.
Permanently, one might say.
Yeah. But that's basically what happens with Omegon. I know that you have a whole bunch of stuff in here that kind of
ties back into that. Yeah. But he kind of
just shows up one day.
He kind of just shows up one day. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. So one of the first records for Alpharius is that it was Horus who found Alpharius and not the Emperor. And that doesn't give us any background on where Alpharius came from. Yeah. He just all of a sudden, he's got this like little fleet of ragtag like mercenary ships flying through space, and they come across a fleet of the Luna Wolves and just start attacking. So he shows up with this mercenary crew and attacks the fleet of Luna Wolves.
Yes.
Now, being that they were severely outnumbered and the Luna Wolves had far superior technology of their ships.
And they are the Luna Wolves.
And they're the Luna Wolves.
Yeah.
Obviously, this little ragtag group doesn't get very far in their attack. No. However, in the skirmish, an assassin is able to sneak on board the Vengeful Spirit, the Luna Wolves' head ship, their main control ship. Yeah. And this assassin is able to make his way through the ship, and he is able to take down...
It's completely undetected, right?
Completely undetected. Yeah. He's able to take down Horus's personal guard. Yeah. His personal honor guard.
Yeah. Does he kill them, or does he leave them alive?
I'm pretty sure he slaughters them.
Ooh.
They're dead. And this is like a pretty big group of... Astartes. Mm-hmm. So at this point, Horus is like, okay, something's up. Yeah. I'm going to go and deal with this guy. Yeah. And when Horus and this assassin come face to face, Horus is like, oh, damn, this is my brother.
Yeah.
This is, okay. Who are you?
Yeah.
This is Alpharius.
Only, if I remember rightly, only Primarch to be discovered by another Primarch too.
Yes. Yeah. Correct. Because Horus has been around for a bunch of them to... He's been around. Yeah. Because he was the first one found. Yeah. But this is the first time the Emperor has not been in sight. Allegedly. Yeah. For the discovery of one of the Primarchs. So at this point, Horus is like, oh, you're my brother. That sucks that you killed most of my crew, but...
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up? You are one of us, so let's go home and I'll introduce you to Dad.
Yeah, Dad's going to want to know about this.
Exactly. So that's where that tale sort of ends off. Another one starts with Alpharius ending up on a nameless dead world at the edge of the galaxy. So this, like, a planet that is completely barren. There's nobody living there. There's no resources. It's uninhabitable, basically. And he raises himself, scavenging what he can from the desolate surface of this planet.
Yes.
And eventually a ship ends up coming down to the planet, and this is a Corsair ship full of mercenaries. It's Xenos and humans, half humans, just
disgusting.
A motley crew of filthy Xenos
half-breed
freaks.
Xenos freaks, yeah.
Exactly. And
as the Imperium would say. Yeah.
And the alleged intention of them coming down to this planet was to see if they could scavenge anything valuable from the ancient city ruins that are here. And instead of salvaging things and going home and making some money, well, they all end up dead. Alpharius kills all of them and takes the ship and takes all of their weapons and then sets off out into the galaxy to find his creator, who has forsaken him to this cold and distant place. And that's where that tale ends.
Yes.
Yet another states that he ended up on a planet called Bar Savor, which had been a thriving tech oligarchy, but then there was a Xenos species called the Sloth. Not like the sleepy little guys. There's a UGHTH horribleness of the English language in there. But they're these like big worm monster demon things, and they came to this planet and were like eating all of the people, and they've got like horrible mind control and torture psycho powers, whatever. Mm-hmm. And Alpharius was the only one that was resistant to their powers. Yeah. And being amused by this, the Sloth captured him and turned him into a weapon, and they would have him sort of like they'd drop him on a planet and have him like shake things up a bit, and then they would come in and then have a nice dinner. Yeah. And in this record, it is the Emperor that ends up finding him and saving him. Yeah. And then keeps him a secret from the Imperium, keeping him sheltered for a Terran decade, having only himself, the Emperor, and Malcador the Sigillite,
let's go,
knowing about his existence and trying to mend his fractured mind from being tortured by these things for so long.
Dude, Malcador is so cool.
Malcador the coolest.
Malcador the coolest.
But yeah,
like Malcador the Slagellite. I'm so sorry. That was so bad.
That's okay. You get a pass for this one. But that one, that tale sort of ends with him just being brought back into the Imperium and getting sort of rehabilitated by Dad. Then, what's the next one here?
This is the Emperor one, right? The Terror one?
Yes. So one of the accounts is that Alpharius never actually left Terra. Mm-hmm. It's implied that he still was removed from the Emperor and just kind of grew up on the outskirts of some other city or something.
Well, that's the other theory about him as well. Yeah, is that at this point the Emperor hadn't found any of his other sons.
Exactly.
So the Emperor wanted to keep him close. The Emperor wanted to keep him close for the simple fact of this was the only son he knew existed.
Exactly.
So he didn't want to lose him again.
Exactly. Which is very fair. So in this retelling, Alpharius is then technically the first of all of the Primarchs to be found. Yeah, which is basically what you just said there. So at this point, he's then now... It wasn't the Emperor that found him first in this story. It's a group of mercenaries or renegades or something like that, scavengers of some sort, that find him, and then somehow the Emperor finds out that these guys found him, goes there and is like, oh yeah, this is my son, and he kills all of these dudes that found Alpharius to keep the secret hidden. And at this point then raises him in secret, again with only him and Malcador knowing about Alpharius' existence, and turns him sort of into his right-hand man in the shadows.
Yeah.
And with this one, then he gets control over the Alpha Legion pretty quickly and operates as a Ghost Legion, having them do all sorts of secret covert missions that never enter the Imperial records.
Can I tell a quick story?
Absolutely.
About this? Because this is one I've heard.
Absolutely.
When they say that he was getting training, he was getting trained.
Yeah.
Like, because there is one story. There's one story where for the entire time that he's being trained by the Emperor and by Malcador and stuff like that, he is essentially constantly being tasked with doing attempts on the Emperor's life.
Yes. Yeah. And I did read a little bit about that. So they called it the Blood Games.
Yeah.
There was also supposedly a coup that happened. There was not a janitor. That's not the word.
Custode?
A custode. Yeah. Yep. You can see where the correlation of the words happens there. But there was a custodian that they didn't like very much, and there was a coup from within the palace, and Alpharius was tasked with going in and like dismantling the coup from the inside.
From the inside, yeah.
And there was a whole thing, and then that became a part of the Blood Games somewhere also.
Well, there's another thing as well, is like when he was getting trained by Malcador and stuff like that, he was being trained to hide his mind
from any psyker
sort of stuff and all that sort of thing, which is why he was going in with the custodes and everything like that and stuff like that, because they weren't very easy to read, as I understand it, the custodes.
Okay.
So it would be very, very easy for them to be like, oh, that one's Alpharius and stuff like that.
Right.
So he was learning to blend in while working and while being disguised as a custode for most of the time.
And the custodes did continue, like after the training for Alpharius, the custodes did continue to do the Blood Games. Basically just trying to assassinate the Emperor.
Yeah. And then it got to a point where the Blood Games shifted after the Emperor became the Corpse Emperor, where it shifted into the Blood Games getting a glimpse at the Golden Throne. Yeah. Yeah. But no, there's the really cool story that I'm thinking of and stuff like that is that Alpharius is on a rooftop of the palace on the Palace of Earth and everything like that.
Yep.
And this palace is huge.
Yep.
It takes up all of like the Nepalese mountains. I can't remember what they're called.
The Himalayas.
The Himalayas, yeah. Yeah. It takes up the entirety of the Himalayan mountains, and he's on like one spire of these mountains, right?
Yeah.
And he has a spear in his hand, and he's ready to throw it and throw it at the Emperor and stuff like that.
Yep.
And Malcador is like walking with the Emperor as he usually does when they're outside the palace and everything like that. And Malcador, and this is how much of a strong psycho Malcador is and stuff like that. Malcador just snaps his neck around and looks directly at Alpharius.
Yeah.
And he commands all the custodes in the area to go and get Alpharius from that spire.
Wow.
Yeah, because that was one of the tasks of Alpharius trying to shield his mind.
Right.
Because basically it was like Alpharius let his mind guard slip ever so slightly, because he was like, this is it. All my training has led up to this. All of my training has led up to me skewering the Emperor right here, right now. And he let his conditioning slip, and Malcador was like, found you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah, because they've got like the Primarchs pretty much have like telescopic vision and stuff like that. So he's just watching all of this go down like bare-eyed and stuff like that, and then he just watches Malcador turn and look him in the eyes.
Dead in the eye.
Yeah,
that would be spooky as hell.
Yeah,
yeah.
But to bring it back to the whole thing and stuff like that, that's what he was doing on Earth. Yeah.
He was just kind of going about life trying to kill the Emperor all the time.
By the Emperor's command, which is...
Yes. A little bit redundant, but also like whatever. But to tie in quickly, I have a note about Omegon, but quickly just to tie into Alpharius trying to blend in this story, as well as the one where the Emperor rescued Alpharius from the sloths, with keeping him secret, but also trying to have him be around and know what's going on in the crusade and whatever. Allegedly, Alpharius was disguised often just as an Astartes, as a custodian.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's another note as well, is he's the shortest Primarch.
Yes, he's the same height
as his legion sons.
His legion.
Yeah.
So he would disguise himself, and allegedly then was there when the Emperor found Horus, when he found the lion.
Yeah, he was never too far away from the discovery of each one of these Primarchs.
Exactly. Yeah. So allegedly he was there for everything.
Yeah.
But also for this tale, the note for Omegon is that if Alpharius had been with the Emperor, then it was Omegon who went to that dead planet on the edge of nowhere. And with that, he found in the ruins the Pale Spear. Now, I meant to do more research about that, but I totally forgot. So I'm assuming that that's relevant to something somewhere.
Most probably somewhere down the line, yeah. It probably has something to do with the heresy shenanigans that they do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then same thing with Alpharius is where there's a ship of some sort, whether that be the Xenos or whether it's human pirates. Omegon hops on board with those guys and makes his way back into the galaxy.
Yeah.
Now there are other tales for that, but I'll get into that in a moment here. So regardless of what the origin story is, eventually we come to the Great Crusade and all of the storylines start to kind of coalesce, but still not really.
Yeah.
After the Great Crusade is kind of underway, the Alpha Legion makes themselves known to everyone else.
Yeah.
And the sort of alleged time period that this happened was during the Rangdang Xenocides, which I talked about when we did the Lions episode.
Yes.
So Alpharius at this point is back with he is leading his legion.
Mm-hmm.
However, he is disguised as just I don't know if he's just like a commander or something, but he's a low-ranking officer of some sort.
Well, that's another thing as well. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, you're good.
But no, another thing as well is there is also a very strong chance that some of his brothers may have never met him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing about his legion and stuff like that is his legion, every single one of them at some point got a chance to be Alpharius.
Exactly. Yeah. They all looked exactly identical, and it was part of their tactics to have Alpharius and Omegon, after they were reunited, swapping in and out of each other's places. Now, Alpharius didn't really pose as Omegon often because Omegon was a secret.
Yeah.
But having them swap places and then also having them swap places with just their regular old Astartes sons. But back to the Xenocides, Alpharius allegedly Alpharius approached the Lion and offered help to kill all the Xenos.
Yeah.
And in doing so, not revealing his identity and also not revealing that he had ulterior motives, because the Lion was on his way to that planet that I'd mentioned earlier, Bar Savor. And for this sort of theory is that Omegon ended up on Bar Savor, not the Dead World.
Yeah.
And Alpharius had heard that, maybe there's something going on Bar Savor. Maybe this is where the lost brother is. So he's going to help help the Lion, because he knew that they were on their way to this planet.
Mm-hmm.
And for this story, he does find Omegon on this planet after they kill off all of the sloth, which do still come and whatever. And this is allegedly when they reunited and had that whole twin souls combined moment where they've looked into each other's eyes and felt the spark of the brotherhood of they were the same person.
Yeah, the brotherhood of we are, yes.
We are one man in two bodies, and we are brothers, and also the same but different, but each other but not. And at this point, regardless of how they find Omegon, they keep him a secret.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when the shenanigans really pick up of them swapping places and whatnot. And like you said, every one of the Alpha Legion had a chance to pose as Alpharius. And I guess it's a running joke that I am Alpharius.
It's the worst inside joke ever of just I am Alpharius. Dude, when you're listening to or you're reading Legion, specifically Legion, that's the book about the Alpha Legion in the Horus Heresy, or the lead up to the Horus Heresy and everything like that.
Yep.
And stuff like that. You get so annoyed at that sentence because every single time it's like, who are you? I am Alpharius. I am Alpharius. It's like, shut up.
Yes, everyone is Alpharius and Alpharius is you.
Yeah.
What? Like you sitting at home, you are Alpharius.
I am Alpharius.
I am Alpharius. And we are both, and none of us are Alpharius, but we are all Alpharius at heart. Yeah, so that's this whole episode is a bit of a headache. Apologies in advance.
Yeah, we can very much just apologize right now. Of like it's hard to listen to. It's hard to record.
It's hard to record. It was hard to read about. It's hard to record. It's just hard, and that's okay. Yeah. But once the brothers are reunited and they're up to all of this shenaniganery, because they were never, be that they were always hidden in plain sight from the other brothers, or they were not found and then were never properly introduced to their brothers, there was quite a large divide between Alphraius Omegon and the rest of the Primarchs. Notably Guilliman.
Yeah, that's because he's just got a stick up him.
He does have a stick up him, but he found that their battle tactics were brutal and unnecessary.
Yeah. Well, because their battle tactics revolve around slowly disassembling the planet by igniting chaos.
Exactly. By getting in, infiltrating completely covertly, and just causing mayhem. The specific event of this that I found was the campaign of Testra Prime. And it was, I think it was part of the Crusade. And I don't know whether it was the Emperor that was like, "Hey, go crusade this place," or whether they picked it themselves.
Mm-hmm. If it was with Guilliman, it was probably Guilliman doing stuff on his own.
Yeah. I don't think Guilliman was directly involved in this one.
Oh, fair enough.
It was the Alpha Legion that was going to take over this place. Yeah. And instead of doing things the Guilliman way of just going in and doing an attack and getting it over with, the Alpha Legion spent, I think it was a Terran week, infiltrating. They would do small ambushes. There were a whole bunch of quote-unquote accidents happening, little bits of sabotage, just sort of the way that Corvus slowly from the inside took down the prison.
Yeah.
They took down this, I don't know if it was, they started with just the city or if they did the entire planet at once, I'm not sure. But the planet suffered 90% casualty.
Jesus.
In a week.
Oof.
And
this is
like they didn't even know they were under attack.
Yeah.
They didn't even know they were under attack. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, I guess we have to surrender now."
Yeah. And this is what we talk about when they're disassembling society. It's like
exactly. Very slow takedown. Yeah. And Guilliman, after this, went to Alpharius and was like, "What the hell was that? What was that?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just
take the planet?
Yeah. And Alpharius said, quote, "It would have been too easy."
Oh my God.
And there was another quote from Guilliman that I didn't take down the whole quote, but basically Guilliman thought this was a waste of the Emperor's ammunition.
Yeah. But so if Guilliman had been there, he would know that the Alpha Legion hardly ever fire a shot. Yeah. They hardly ever fire a shot. Usually what they do is they will take out key figures in a planet's like hierarchy and stuff like that,
and just slowly replace them and
then just let it collapse from there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or they will aid the side that is the bad guys to watch the planet fall, and then they take it after that.
Oh, yeah. That's a smart tactic. That's smart. And most of the Primarchs highly disapproved of this, but Horus did see that there had to have been an insane amount of skill put into this in order for their tactics to work. Yeah. So he was impressed, but at this point, there is not really any connection between the Alpha Legion and any of the brothers. I mean, I did come across frequently enough that of any of the brothers, Alpharius was at least familiar with Horus, which did then set things up for the heresy to fall. But that is most of the information that I was able to find here. I do have sort of one more bit for this.
We will go over that. I can take over for this bit if you'd like, because this is directly from the book and everything. Yes. And I'll just give a quick rundown down on this and everything like that.
Go nuts.
So 2 years before the heresy went into full swing and everything, Alpharius and Omegon were taking over this planet. I can't remember the name of the planet. I read the book a while ago.
That's not good.
And they were trying to take over this planet, and they were finding it extremely hard to take over this planet.
Yeah.
It was going rough, but that was mostly because of Imperial Army stuff. There's a lot of stuff that was just pushing against them and everything like that. But the thing that was happening on this planet and everything like that is that there was a member of the thing.
Cabal?
The Cabal, yeah. There was a member of the Cabal, and he was a human, and he was over 600 years old.
Yeah. So the Cabal, I'll just cut in quickly. The Cabal is a organization that's led by the Eldar, but it's comprised of many species, mostly Xenos, but there are some humans that are part of the Cabal.
And it's very much like a galaxy-wide secret government kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like the Illuminati sort of thing.
Yeah, like a galaxy-wide Illuminati kind of thing. Yeah, and they knew that the Horus Heresy was coming.
Yes,
and the specific reason that they wanted the Alpha Legion is because of their skill.
Yes.
But because they were so young in the universe, in the galaxy and stuff like that, in terms of their army, in terms of what they were doing and everything like that, they were uncorrupted.
Right.
They were uncorrupted. And they very much relayed to Alpharius and Omegon at the same time, because at this point, that guy, the human, he found out that Omegon and Alpharius were the same guy, because he had extremely sharp observational skills.
Right.
So much so that he could tell if a Astartes was 0.3 inches off of being the same height as Alpharius.
Okay.
And then that's when he realized, you two are exactly the same. There is nothing different about the two of you. You two are both the Primarch of the Alpha Legion.
Right.
So they were shown a vision. Alpharius and Omegon were shown a vision, and they were shown the Horus Heresy. Two visions, yes. They were shown the universe where the Emperor died and Horus won.
Yep.
And the Imperium where the Emperor lived and Horus lost.
Yes.
And stuff like that. And in deciding so, and this is the thing as well, is, say what you will about Alpharius, extremely loyal to the Emperor, extremely loyal to the Imperium of Mankind. He realized that the best way for this to go was if he was to follow Horus.
Yes, because the other part is if they were to side with Horus and become one of the traitor legions, that outcome would eventually lead to the forces of chaos being wiped out.
Yes.
And if he had stayed loyal to the Emperor and defeated Horus, then humanity itself would be wiped out.
Yeah.
Was the sort of point that I found on that.
Exactly. But we're done. That's it.
That's it. That's all there is.
That's all there is.
Well, there is more,
but it's heresy.
But it's heresy. Yeah. So we're not going to talk about
We're not going to talk about it. But yes, anyway, thank you guys for following us on this extremely complicated episode.
Absolutely.
We are sorry.
Hopefully your brains aren't scrambled too bad.
Like ours were.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you're on the YouTube, thank you for watching again. After this, we are going full swing into the heresy and everything like that. After the heresy is done, things are going to change a little bit, and we'll be getting more into that as we get closer to it. We're planning stuff. We'll get to that point. But we want to thank you again for, coming, listening.
Sticking around.
If you're on the Spotify, thank you for listening.
Yep.
Please come over to the YouTube, take a look, everything like that. If you're listening on the Instagram, how? But if you did come over from the Instagram, thank you so much for coming over. And please keep on listening. Please keep subscribing. Please keep liking the videos, commenting, telling us what you like, what you don't like, all that sort of good stuff.
Yep. If there's anything that we've brushed over that you want to hear more about and we can find more about, then we can talk about that. If there's anything particular that we haven't got to that you're interested in, then let us know.
If you're a super duper Alpha Legion super fan and you know everything, good for you. Must be nice to be able to figure it out.
Yep. Tell us your secrets,
please,
if you want. We'll shout it. We'll give you a shout out or something.
Probably. Yeah. we'll give you a shout out. We'll probably laud you as a god, maybe. Again, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.